How's everybody doing?
All right. Coach, we'll open up to you for a short opening.
Yeah, sure. Obviously excited to be here. Excited to finally have the blue and white on officially and don't have to change colors at all. Really exciting for me and my family. Had a great month of December and really January, finishing this roster out, building the coaching staff the way that I see fit to be our very best. We had 34 additions in the portal from January, 17 on offense, 14 on defense, 3 on special teams. We signed 13 high school kids as well. And we've obviously been active adding coaches to this staff. So exciting times to be a Kentucky Wildcat. I'll open it up to any questions.
Well, so obviously the deadline to enter for the spring semester has passed, but are you finished? Is there any room to add?
Yeah, there'll be, I think, 2 announced today. But we're finishing up the roster. Feel really good where we're at. And we'll continue to track that, over the next couple months to see if there is any future additions. But right now, I feel really good.
Kenny Minchie hasn't there's not a lot of tape out there on him. So what did you see from him that made you want to get him to be the quarterback?
Extremely accurate. He's got great athleticism. I think when you talk to him, when you guys meet him, he is a phenomenal person, very smart. And I mean, we did our background on him. Everybody we talked to, even guys on that staff, felt like they still would have won 10 games with Kenny out there playing quarterback. Talked to NFL scouts on him. Feel like he's got a really high upside in this game. And he's somebody that I was really excited to get.
How do you feel about the wide receiver room? It felt like that was kind of the last piece you all were working on last week.
Yeah, we finished up really well in that room. I think we got some really good young players as well. Right now I feel good about our guys. It's just about staying healthy and getting these guys clued into the game plans and into our scheme over the next couple months. But adding a guy like Nick Anderson, really good player. We had multiple guys in that room, but feel good.
You mentioned the health piece of that. You added a few guys who seem to have a whole lot of talent but have had injury issues in the past. How do you balance that when you're looking at transfers?
Yeah, I think it starts in our strength and conditioning program. Like Brandon Roberts is our strength coach. He's a guy I've known for a long time. I think that's really going to be a big difference for us going into this next season is our strength and conditioning and pairing that with great nutrition and in the training room, just being really more aligned in that aspect of our program. And, that'd be huge. And working along with sports science to make sure these guys are at their very best.
Will, kind of walk me through the process for evaluating the returning players, how you came to who maybe leaned on for help, or was all this you watching film and evaluating?
Yeah, the first thing that we did was to look at this current roster and who we really needed to dive in and make sure that stayed on this roster in the 26th season and, feel really good about the returners coming back. But you're right, it's a bunch of film study. It's doing our research. It's seeing what type of person they are. Do they fit the character that we want on our team? And then schematically, are they what we look for in each position? So while I was at Oregon, I was watching tape on our current team. Also have, Pat Biondo, I think is the best GM in the country, who's done a phenomenal job since arriving here in Lexington, and then added Pete Nocta from Louisville as our assistant GM. And those guys have really spearheaded, building this roster along with me, and I like where we stand right now.
Well, how important was it to keep Ty Bryant?
Huge, right? Lexington kid. He's a program builder. He's a leader. He's all conference. He is a phenomenal person. His dad played football here with my dad. So obviously that connection piece was huge, but he's a damn good ball player. And we wanted to make sure that he was on this team moving forward.
The offensive line seemed to be a big priority. That's the foundation of any offense. How do you feel about the guys you run in there?
I feel really good. That was a major thing. The teams that win in November, December, January win the trenches. So making sure that we're solidifying that offensive line was a major piece of this puzzle, especially with whoever's playing quarterback for us. Want to make sure that they're back there, they're healthy, they are able to see the field, and you had guys with a lot of experience up front that aren't just newcomers to this league or Power 4 football, and so far so good.
Well, given the perceived success you've had recruiting in the portal and the size of the coaching staff you've hired, should we take it that Kentucky is fully committed in terms of resources to compete at the top end of the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, I work for the best president, best AD in the country. So these guys have done everything and more to support us and feel really good about the future and making sure that we're keep pushing the envelope. But I can't say enough good about, Mitch Barnhart and what he's done for me so far. And yeah, I mean, I feel like, are we completely there? I think everybody's always trying to push every program across the country. So it's not just Kentucky, but they've resourced me definitely in a good way to feel like we can push the envelope with player acquisition, retention, and then building the best coaching staff possible.
Well, with all the chaos surrounding new coach, you're juggling jobs, new coaches, new coaching staff, the portal, how were you guys able to nail down what looks to be a real quality number of O-linemen?
Work, grind, talking with people all across the country 24 hours a day, fielding phone calls in the middle of the night, waking people up in the morning with our phone calls, and just grinding through it. I mean, it's not rocket science. Like the people that work the hardest through the portal, through recruiting, give yourself the best chance. And then there's obviously other factors that are involved in college football now. We felt like we were strongly resourced to make sure that we got the right players. We're still pushing the envelope there, but we have fielded a team, I believe, that can go out there and compete, immediately. And it really starts, like we said, with depth. That's the key part in college football. Can you provide great depth up front, O-line, D-line, to give yourself the best chance later in the season?
Will, now that you're here, the roster's set, what's the goal for you with the program these next, 2 months before y'all get on the grass and start, actually practicing?
Yeah, I mean, right now the guys are working out 4 days a week. We're really setting the standard in the weight room with our strength and conditioning program, building out our DNA traits, connection, accountability, toughness, sacrifice, making that who we are, not just what we say, and really diving into the people, right? I talk about connection a lot. My thing is learning everybody's name on our roster. I know that sounds easy. You got 105 guys that you're working with. I wasn't here for a month and a half, really, and now I'm here. So now it's like putting the names with the faces and making sure that they know my connection is real with them. So we'll have some opportunities to build that connection over the next couple of weeks with some meals that we do outside of the building or some of our Get Real sessions on Wednesday night to really dive into the people. And then along that, it is really building the strength and conditioning necessary to go out in spring football and be able to compete.
Well, you had the law firm out at Oregon where it's a lot of coaches working with that offensive line. So I know you've got at least three. What does that look like? And is it still going to be a law firm here? We're still going to be calling it that?
Yeah, I will pat myself on the back. I did dub them the law firm, so it's something that I did create, which is fun. But yeah, I mean, O-line, there's 20 guys in the room. If you have one O-line coach, that's just not enough to see all five working at the same time. So we have two right now with Cutter and Derek. We're adding a third, and then Paul is our GA, and then you like to have another student assistant type body in there. So you have 5 coaches for 5 guys at the same time. That's the goal. Obviously, 4 is definitely doable, but just like O-line, receivers, D-line, you want more coaches in those rooms because you play with more guys on the field at those positions.
Will, Jamarian Harkless is another Lexington kid that you all brought back. What did you see in him?
The big chops. Yeah. Big interior body that can, cause havoc up front, and a guy that has a lot of pride in the city. So excited about him. All the guys in that room, I think Coach Bateman and crew did a great job of evaluating the talent and then obviously acquiring them through the portal. And he's going to be a big addition.
Well, what about Jay Bateman's philosophy made you want him for defensive coordinator, and how different schematically is that than what fans and returning players are used to?
Yeah, I mean, number one about Jay, awesome dude. I mean, can connect with any player from any demographic. Just a phenomenal person, number one. He's, done more with, I don't want to say more with less. That's not the right way to say it. He's a veteran, right? He's a veteran coordinator. And that's something I was looking for too. a guy that's been in college for a while to be on that side of the ball, that's been through ups, downs, and currently was at an elite spot on defense with Texas A&M. I think Jay's creative. I think he's aggressive. He's also willing to learn new things. And I just felt like I would work best with Jay Bateman on a day-to-day basis. And on top of that, this guy hunts in recruiting. Like, he is a shark. He's a pit bull. He'll go up against anybody. And there's no real tricks with Jay. Like, he's straight up, but he creates real bonds with these players. And excited really to work with him and to see him blossom this spring.
Well, what do you make your running back room right now? What do you like that you added with Javante Barnes and CJ Baxter?
Yeah, I mean, the running back room was young, and we needed to make sure that we could, get the proper players in there to go tote the rock, and really love, like you said, Javante Barnes and CJ Baxter, what they provide from a depth and leadership standpoint. Those guys have played in the SEC, played in the Big 12, so they've ran the ball in big moments. So obviously really excited about them and the rest of the guys in the room. But our backs are going to be utilized a lot in this offense. We work out of 21 personnel and different 2-back, even 3-back sets at times. So they'll be big. They'll be instrumental in moving forward.
Well, when you go down just the additions you all have made, the state of Texas is on there a lot when it's hometown. Is that an area you feel like you're all really going to hit hard in high school recruiting and in portal recruiting, because it's not something we've ever really seen Kentucky do before?
The best way that we're going to move forward is really starting inside the state of Kentucky. It has to. I mean, in this next class, there's a lot of really good talent in the state right now, a lot. And when I've seen Kentucky at its best, it's homegrown talent. That's where you got to start. And then you look at really the 5-6 hour radius, around us: Nashville, Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Chicago, Detroit, even going to Charlotte, Atlanta. Like, those are the cities that you really want to hone in on, even St. Louis. And then this is a national brand. I mean, University of Kentucky, this logo holds weight. So this is where you can use your resources and your relationships that you've built maybe prior to go into a state like Texas, to really dive into South Florida, even the DMV area, to use those connections to acquire players that want to be here. We'll go wherever. I mean, if there's a kid in Alaska that wants to play at Kentucky that's good enough, we'll go there. I mean, it does not matter. In the new state of college football and recruiting, it's really about building relationships and making sure that we're consistent in our approach with those players and just bringing the best guys that fit our program.
The linebackers you added are both highly regarded in high school, but didn't play much last year. So what gives you confidence that they can come in and compete to be starters?
Yeah, I mean, high weight, speed, those guys fit the build of really good linebackers that play in this conference. When you talk to them, they're football junkies. They love it, eat, sleep, breathe it. They're workers, and they might not just had that full opportunity at their last spot, but we evaluated them. We got to learn them and their families, and there's some prior relationships there as well, and it felt like they were our best fit.
Will, what is there about Ponatoski that you like the best, and what do you see kind of long-term with him?
Really accurate. He's a winner. He's played in the GCL in Cincinnati. Really good competition. Cincinnati Moeller is a fantastic school. He's a 2-sport athlete. He was Mr. Football and Mr. Baseball. I mean, that's pretty incredible. Or Gatorade Player of the Year in both. I think he's one of like 3 guys ever to do that. So, and I recruited Matt at Oregon. He was somebody that we were super high on, really wanted, ended up taking another kid just because of the timing of it out at Oregon, but had the relationship with him and his dad and mom, great people, and he's extremely accurate, throws the ball on time.
You obviously had a relationship with Matt, but the other high school guys who you didn't know, they all signed the first day you were here. So
Yeah.
what was that evaluation process like? Did you just decide to take everybody who was committed in the previous staff? Did that work?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on a staff before where they dropped a kid on the day of signing day, and to me, that's asinine. It's really poor for a coach to do that. So, I mean, I wanted to give all these guys the opportunity to learn me, to be a part of this program. Obviously, not everybody that signed is still with us, which I get. And this isn't going to be for everybody. They might have had relationships elsewhere and wanted to go elsewhere, and we said okay, and was able to add people in the portal instead of bringing those guys in. But I will say the guys that signed, excited about them. I think some really good players. Yeah, I didn't want to do anything initially and drop guys. The day I get hired, the next day they have to find a new home. I thought that would be really poor by me.
Well, now that you've got a bulk of the actual roster and coaching staff together, what do you think the identity of this team is going to be moving into spring ball and then the season next year?
It's a good question. I mean, it's TBD still. You know, I think we're all still learning each other. We are currently in the stage of really phase one of our offseason, which is how much bigger, faster, and stronger can we get? And can we just get aligned? Can we learn each other? So I think the identity of the team will really show as we get through spring and some of our winter football opportunities. And it'll bleed into the fall camp. I mean, our identity at Oregon last year was going to be 11-12, and then midway through the season, we're in 21 and 30 personnel. So it just changes based on who's available. It's really seeing the scheme fit with these players and then kind of building it through these next couple months. So I want our guys to be tough. I want our guys to be disciplined and play for 4 quarters or however long it takes. So that to me is the biggest, stepping stone right now.
You mentioned the personnel changes. You had to really lean on your tight ends this year. What is it about Willie Rodriguez, that whole tight end room, and also Mikael Skinner? We didn't see him much, but he feels like a different kind of athlete for that.
Yeah, I mean, Willie can play a lot of different spots. I think you can obviously line him up in the core, in the slot, in the backfield. He's kind of wherever you put him, that's where it looks like he fits. And Mikael, kind of same way, reminds me somewhat of a Kenyon Sadiq type player that I had at Oregon, which is a really versatile athlete that we can use in a lot of different ways. So, I mean, both those kids are working their tails off right now. Glad to get Willie back. That was a big get for us, just from a culture standpoint and just from a need. So, yeah, both those guys, I think, provide a lot in that tight end room.
Will, when Coach Sloan met with us, he said you guys sort of formed a bond, kind of recruiting against each other and got to know each other. So from your perspective, what about him what did you guys bond over and why did you want him here?
Yeah, I mean, Joe's a great guy. I did meet him through recruiting. We recruited a lot of the same quarterbacks over the past couple of years. And then we would Zoom a lot in the offseason, talk football, and we just had the same philosophy, same identity. And he's another guy like Jay who can really move the needle in recruiting, and he does a great job in that.
What would you say to somebody who's worried that there's a lot of young guys on this staff who haven't really been in coaching for a long time? What would you say to those people?
I guess who do you think hasn't been in coaching?
Well,
I'm serious.
For only like 3 or 4 years, like Tony Washington Jr. is a young guy. Like there's a lot of very young coaches on this staff.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think experience is all relative. What we're doing now in college football is not the same as we were doing 20 years ago. It's just not. Everything's changing. Recruiting's changed. Portal's changed. It's about adaptability, and these guys showed me that they're the best people for these jobs. They relate to players. They connect with players. And then as a guy that I've coached with, seen firsthand, this guy can coach. So I feel great about our staff. Are they young? Yes, I'm young, but it's a new age of college football. And to me, it's about putting the best people in these jobs. High IQ, high character, guys that love coaching, really smart. They connect with players, like I said. And I mean, I know Tony was a really good player too, so he played the position. He scored a touchdown in the Rose Bowl. This guy's he's a star, to be honest.
Well, let's follow up on the O-line question. What did you like about Colton Price and why is he such a big piece?
He's an all-league player. He's a veteran. The guy's married, He's married. So he's very mature. He's played big-time ball, an elite communicator, and really strong.
Well, I wouldn't call Anwar Stewart a young coach. He might, but I would.
Right.
Did you have a prior relationship with him, or what was there about him that made you want to keep him on staff?
Obviously, he played here. He's done. When I thought about Kentucky football before I got here, I thought they had really good D lines. So Anwar's a big piece of that puzzle. And you just feel a bond with somebody when you get here. He was somebody that did whatever it took to help retain the players on our roster and to acquire new talent. And obviously he's an alum here. So I just felt like, when you look at building a coaching staff, you obviously look at the people that are here, who can stay, who can't. You want to do it in your own way, but there are still people on the staff, like a Josh Pruitt, that know a lot about this place, that is a need. A guy like Anwar, like these are people that I needed early on in the stages, and then they proved that these are the right people for the job. So, yeah, Anwar's been great. Really excited about him.
Hey,
Well,
Will,
this year,
when you think of Indiana and the program they have, and they're in the national championship game tonight, what are your thoughts on how teams can do that nowadays?
I mean, Coach Signetti's an elite coach. They have a number one pick at quarterback. They got really good players. They have great scheme. They've invested in their program from the minute he stepped there on campus. So, yeah, it can be done. That's the exciting part about college football now. A team like Indiana is in the national championship game, and it's no fluke. That's a real team. I lost to them twice. Got my butt whooped 2 weeks ago by them. It's a real team with real players, real coaches, and yeah, that's the beauty of college. And that's what I'm saying. You could be a young coach, old coach. If you're not adapting, you're lost. Like, you're not going to win. And that's the goal from us as a coaching staff. Obviously, us as an athletic department as a whole, not just football, everybody, to push the needle forward. And you can see that IU has done that and done it really well.
Well, Nasir Hudson entered the portal in December, and then a week later withdrew and is back here. So how big was it bringing a guy back like that who has so much experience?
Yeah, we wanted to give everybody an opportunity. Obviously, that's not super typical, but in the day and age of the portal, it can happen. So, yeah, he's a big, long corner that can play, and want to make sure that he had an opportunity to be back here.
Speaking of big and long, you've got only a handful of guys on the roster under 6 feet. Was that intentional, or is that just kind of how it worked out?
I don't want a lot of Will Steins running out there, right? We want some big guys that can run and catch and block and tackle. So height, weight, speed's obviously something that we kind of start with as a measuring block, and then we look at the intangibles after that.
Well, you've been described, like it or not, as a quarterback whisperer. You have had success, obviously, with QBs. What goes into that? What is the key, if there is one or two, to developing a good college quarterback?
There's a lot. To me, it's like working with the player. Like, there's so much like coach-to-player communication, but the guys I've been able to coach, great dialogue, obviously great passers and players themselves, but building the offense around them, not trying to fit them into my scheme, but like, let's fit our scheme, all right, into them and what they do well. So every player is different. The Frank Harris days at UTSA, Bo Nix, Dylan Gabriel, Dante Moore, Hudson Card when I was at Lake Travis, Sam Ellinger, Shane Buechele at Texas, like, they're all different. And this is not a cookie cutter offense. It's how do we build it around them and what they do best.
Will, is it kind of nice to have a guy like Ben Duncan from Lake Travis? Could you talk about him a little bit, also about your time there at Lake Travis, how that kind of...
Yeah, I mean, Ben, when I saw that we had been signed or committed, that was exciting. Lake Travis changed my life. It allowed me to coordinate for the first time. I worked for Hank Carter, who is an elite high school coach in Texas, and I learned a lot about myself. I went to a program that had won 6 state championships up to that point with a lot of returning coaches that were a lot older than me, and really found my voice as a play caller. So it was really, really cool and a unique place, and very grateful for that time.
Well, I'd imagine the last 6 weeks are probably the craziest of your life. Is that fair?
Yes.
Is there one moment where, I don't know if hit the wall is the right term, but where the chaos was at its most chaotic that you're going to look back on and say, how the hell did I do that?
After the Orange Bowl, I had like a day here in the heat of portal. Or no, that might have been the first day. Was that the first day the portal opened? Yeah. We had like 10 guys here. We're like the only team in the country that just like grinded to get guys here. I was on like no sleep. Yeah, that was probably the wildest day. But I truly have some of the best people in the world that were here, that were grinding through it, that were on the phones constantly, getting kids to campus, a recruiting staff that had never really worked together, that were just figuring it out. Excuse me. And that was really encouraging for me to see, knowing that I'm not here, but things are getting done. But that was probably the most chaotic day.
Did you have a moment where like you maybe stepped off the practice field at Oregon and then you had to hop in like UK gear to get on FaceTime with it?
No, a lot of times I just had Oregon gear on or just took my hat off. But yeah, I mean, that was happening every single day. I was definitely lying to you guys and everybody that I was focused on one thing at one time. I was not. I was focused on everything at the same time. So you can imagine what that's like. But somebody told me too, there's no crying from a yacht. You know, I was offensive coordinator at Oregon playing in the college football playoffs, and I'm the head coach at Kentucky. So I think a lot of people would want to be in my shoes. And yeah, so it's been really cool.
In that period, how much sleep were you getting, and how much?
Not a lot.
How much do you normally get?
I mean, everybody was telling me how bad I looked, you know? I'm like, I mean, I was always a kid that liked to sleep, you know? That was my MO, stay up late, sleep in as a kid. But yeah, not a lot of sleep. I mean, I have two kids that are 3 and 1, so that already takes off as a parent. I'm in the college football playoffs. I'm the head coach of Kentucky, so yeah, there wasn't a lot of sleep going on. So you just try to, if you can get to bed earlier, that's probably the best. But that's really not happening either. So to answer your question, there was not a lot of sleep.
Well, Hank Carter said that you're not even close to the biggest competitor in your own family. That when it comes to that Darby is easy.
Yes.
Is that true? Or is that?
It is true. Darby hates to lose more than she likes to win, for sure. So. I'm just so thankful for her. I mean, she's back in Eugene right now with the kids. Just she texted me day 10 of being a single mother. I think that was today. I was like, I know it's tough. Coaches' wives, anybody in sports that is a spouse, it's a tough job. Just because we're not always there, and everybody thinks we're just at fun. We're just with the boys, hanging out, telling jokes in the offense staff room. But we are working. We are doing stuff that coaches have to do to win. But yeah, she's definitely extremely competitive. You see her play tennis. She even played tennis growing up, but she's turned into a pretty good tennis player. So excited about them getting to Lexington, building out a community even outside of football with people. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, how do you feel about the rest of the quarterback group? You talked about Kenny, but the other guys you added there and Brennan.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I like Brennan a lot. I'm excited about Brennan. I've got to know him more and more, and just watching his tape from practice here last year and watching his high school tape, son of a coach, I mean, he can really throw the rock. He's got, great intangibles too. I think he's a natural leader, great communicator, so excited about him. We added Ja'Kai from Marshall, who's played and started games. Carson Kruger from FAU, obviously Matt Panatowski. So I think the room's competitive, which is fun, and guys that might not have a ton of experience, but I think the upside, the ceiling on these kids is really high.
How worried were you about the baseball draft with Matt when you were recruiting him in Oregon, and how much of a concern is that still, or is it?
I mean, everything that he said to me is that wants to be a big-time college football player. So is it concerning? No. I mean, I'm just really grateful to be able to have the chance to coach Matt, and I think his best years are to come in football. He's obviously an outstanding baseball player, and would love to get him on the diamond here at Kentucky too, and let's do this thing together.
Well, a lot of us old-timers see you as this young, progressive, innovator guy. It's good to hear you talk about character. What would you say is one or two most old school non-negotiables that you want to see coming from your players in the locker room?
That's a great question. Non-negotiables for a football player to me, guys that are accountable, we have a little rule. It's pretty simple. Be where you're supposed to be, when you're supposed to be there, doing what you're supposed to be doing with great effort. So can you be accountable? Can you show up on time? Can you do the little things right that take care of the big things? That's huge. And then in our sport, like toughness, like mental and physical toughness, that's huge for a football player. It's a tough game, played by really tough men, and the spotlight's on these guys all the time. Can they handle that? And in the fourth quarter, when it's the hardest, can you look to the man to your left and the right and know that they're going to do their job? So those are two, I would say, kind of non-negotiables for me.
Well, since you became the coach at Kentucky, what's been the reaction of your former Louisville teammates?
Supportive, very supportive. I have a few of them on staff now. Justin Burke's my tight ends coach. Pete Nocta is my assistant GM. Colby Smith is our running back coach. So yeah, super supportive. I mean, all those guys are extremely happy. Is there a big rivalry? Of course. But I'm still their teammate and their friend, and have had an outpouring of support from former players, even people that have worked there prior or even are associated with that program just because of my relationship prior to them.
Well, what exactly is Pete's role for some of us too old to understand this new language? Can you explain exactly what his role is?
Pete's our assistant GM, so he works hand in hand with Pat Biondo, our GM, to build the roster, to be a liaison between really agents and players, and obviously building out the board too, meaning these are the players that we're targeting, and this is our way of going about acquiring them through recruiting tactics, right? Actually talking to them, setting up visits, and then obviously negotiations, which are a major part of college football.
What are the kind of characteristics that go into a guy that fits that role?
Organization, extremely well organized, well versed in contracts and just contract law too. We obviously use our compliance office for that. We have lawyers that are in there. Knowing the market, knowing what the cost of a player might be or the range. Obviously knowing how to set up recruiting visits, how to send your coaches out on the road. There's a lot. It's a giant role in college football that you cannot run a program without. There's just no way in hell. And with Pat as our GM, he's my right-hand man. Like, we're running this program together, obviously through my vision, but he's an expert in what it takes to get the best players on our team. And that's not just money. That is truly recruiting, phone calls, visits, how that all looks, the actual evaluation piece. Are we bringing in the right players? And then Pete is really the next guy with Pat that we're working hand in hand with.
Well, how difficult is it, or maybe not difficult at all, to know a player's value when these contracts aren't necessarily like publicly available for other schools?
Yeah, it can be difficult, and the price of a player has risen every single year. So you try to get a grip on the market by talking to different people and having those conversations. And then, like, what makes sense for you and your team, you know, like not you don't have to overspend on certain positions. Even here at Oregon, like, we were not the highest bidders on every single player. It still goes back to relationships and building those relationships and like going to show players how they can develop in your offense, defense, and special teams, how they can develop outside of the field of play, what connections you have with people in the community to help these guys out once the ball goes flat. Like, I tell them that there's no pickup YMCA football. Like, I'm not putting on pads to go play a pickup football game. So the ball's going to go flat. You're not going to play football forever. So those are the conversations with acquiring players that are more than just money. If the first thing they ask about is money, it's probably not the guy that we want. Just not. Like, that's obviously a conversation now. Like, there's no hiding that or not talking about it. That is real. But that's not the first thing that we want to talk about.
Lance Hurd was probably one of the more well-paid guys out there. He's got a lot of experience. Why was it so important to get a guy with that experience to play left tackle?
Yeah, I mean, the people in the NFL that get paid the most are the quarterbacks, left tackles, edge players, corners. I mean, that's the market. And so we needed to do what was necessary, but also show him why he needs to be at Kentucky, why he needs to play for me and Cutter Leftwich and Derek Wareheim in this offense. It was important that he can be in a modern pro-style offense that's going to utilize his skill set. And so he was completely committed to that. And he's a football junkie. The guy loves it. So that's why I know he's going to be successful, is because he loves ball. And it's not just about the dollar signs for him.
Well, I believe you have 4 guys who have called plays in college football. Was that something important to you to get that kind of experience and just kind of your kind of offensive staff?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anybody that has called plays, it can get lonely at times. So when you have people in the room that can back you or help you through the process, then you feel more at peace with decision making. But it's not the end all be all, but I just felt like these were the best guys for the job. And it just so happens that they have called plays, which is good to rely on that experience.
Well, the recruiting trail, for obvious reasons right now, is taking you to some basketball teams. Are you big on kids who play more than one sport, that sort of thing?
For sure. I mean, I love kids that run track, play basketball, wrestle, you name it. If all you're doing is playing football, it's not the end of ball. It's not going to make me not recruit you, but I love to see the athleticism, the competitiveness show up in other sports. And it's what you want high school sports to be, is guys that play multiple sports and really take pride in their school. And it shows, their loyalty to the school as well.
Speaking of basketball, you know what it's like here in Kentucky. The University of Kentucky basketball program casts a long shadow. How do you anticipate, especially this age of NIL revenue sharing and working with that program?
I'm the biggest Kentucky basketball fan you will ever meet. So I went to Tubby Smith basketball camp like 4 times. I won the Hot Shot Award. I won the free throw competition. Hey, I hope every single program wins. Basketball, baseball, football, women's volleyball, gymnastics, you name it. Like, I want this to be the best athletic program in the country, which I believe it is and will continue to be. So you're not going to find me complaining about men's basketball or any other sport here.
Well, can you talk a bit about Nick Anderson and having a guy that played in Joe Sloan's offense, how important that's going to be for next season?
Yeah, I mean, I got to know Nick. I didn't know him, actually. Got to watch him when I was coaching Dylan Gabriel, and I was like, this guy's popping off. Number 4, this dude's a freak, making plays all over the field at OU. Then obviously it was big to have Joe and that relationship piece to really solidify that he wanted to come here and then show him how he's going to make plays in this offense. So he's a big, tall, fast, tough receiver that's I'm really excited to coach.
The young offensive linemen that you have retained, or the younger offensive linemen, are those guys you see can compete for playing time this year? Are those kind of building pieces for the future, do you hope?
It's still to be determined. I mean, O-line, D-line are some of the most developmental positions just because of the physicality of the game. I mean, you might weigh 300 as a freshman coming in or 285, but you're still not strong enough to go against grown men that are playing defensive end or defensive tackles, especially in this league that might be 22 years old and been lifting for the last 4 years. And so, I mean, we've played guys that were freshmen at the offensive line before, so it's not like it can't happen. It's just like all these guys. It's a show me world, and this spring practice window will be where we determine that.
Well, the guy you replaced at Oregon, Kenny Dillingham, has been able to do some good things at Arizona State, including making the college football playoff. What is it about Coach Lanning and the people over at Oregon that set coordinators up for success when they take a bigger job and become head coaches?
I mean, I don't know Kenny too well, but when I look at him, he's just authentically him. Like, he doesn't try to be somebody that he's not. Even Dan worked for Coach Smart and Coach Saban, Coach Norvell, but Dan is him. You know, I'm going to be me. Do I have a blueprint for what success looks like and how to get that through the program I've been at the last 3 years? Yes. In terms of scheduling, practice, weight training, nutrition, how it all gets aligned. But the best guys I've coached for or coached with or played for were themselves. And that's the most exciting part about me being here is I can be fully me. And it's going to be somebody that's extremely passionate about this university, passionate about coaching, putting really smart guys around me to help with decision making, and then cutting it loose, like not being afraid of anybody. You know, everybody keeps talking about, you got to do this, you got to play these guys. I mean, they got to play us too, you know? Like, they got to play us. So, like, let's put a great team together that's tough, smart, dependable, plays 4 quarters of football, is connected, and let's see what happens. Like, that's what I'm excited about.
Last one is Dick Gabriel.
Well, this is kind of a broad question again, but for the fans, you describe your offense as modern. What makes it modern? What are fans going to see?
Modern, it's not huddle every play and get in the I formation. It's not spread people out and go as fast as humanly possible. It's a blend of really kind of everything, and it's adaptable. We can play in multiple personnels. We can play with multiple tempos. We like RPOs. We love tempo. We also like 2-back sets and getting downhill on people and adding extra people to the runs with fullbacks and tight ends. So, you know, when I watch like the Bears and the Lions and the Chiefs, like, to me, that's like modern football, modern pro style. And those are guys that I watch a ton of and try to emulate as much as possible with the personnel that we have available.
I lied. One more.
One more.
Well, I'm sorry I can't let you get out of here without asking about this, but just, I mean, what were the conversations like with Cutter before he ended up moving on?
Yeah, I mean, wish him nothing but the best, number one. Great person. Obviously recruited him prior out to Oregon. You know, there's just some things that are out of our control, and felt like we put a really good plan together in place, and, you know, it just didn't work out, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm really excited about, you know, what he does at his next spot, his next venture. And, Number one, I just think he's a great person, and obviously he's a good player. And but I know we're excited about what we have here and what we have to offer our players. And then the players that we added, I think, are the guys that really bought into this university and ready to make this place great.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep. Thanks.